Hello everybody, welcome. In this video, I wanted to talk about a spiritual element that is within each and every one of us, and that is love. And love energizes us in so many different ways. It is truly, truly amazing. I'd like to share with you this quote by Panache Desai, and it says, "Love is the most powerful, miraculous energy on this planet, and it's inside each and every one of us." In this video, I just pray that God's love may dwell within each and every one of us, and that we will be able to spread His love to others and energize more of the people around us, our surrounding, our environment, spreading God's love. So it says in Les Miserables, at the end of the movie, as some of you may have seen it, the actor says, "To love another is to see the face of God." So, the greatest commandment, it says in the New Testament, is to love God with all your heart, your soul, your spirit, your mind. And then it says to love others as you love yourself. And this is the simple, greatest commandment. And if we can do that in our lifetime, you will be at a great place in your life. Just simply to love God with all your mind, heart, and spirit, and to love others as ourselves. I was reflecting back. There was a time which motivated me actually to make this video for all of you. I was talking with my son, Jason, my oldest. He's 24 years old now. And I was reflecting back, there was a time because my son, Jason, has a very compassionate heart towards others. And he's just a very loving, kind person. And I knew this to be because I remember back when he was about 1.5, 2 years old, and he couldn't even speak yet at that time. But there was an incident at the park, and I would like to share with you, which motivated me to make this video to all of you, that all of us innately have the spirit of love within each and every one of us. God's love. For God is love, and when we have God's love and His Spirit in us, we naturally want to share that love to others. So when Jason and I went to the park one day at the end of our cul-de-sac, and we were going there, and then we saw over by the swing set a little boy and a little girl, and maybe their father or uncle. They're over by the swing set, and the little boy, who was maybe like 10 years old, he was swinging on the swing set. And the father was sitting on the bench, and the little girl, who was probably around 6 or 7 years old, she would walk across while her brother was swinging, and accidentally the brother hit her pretty abruptly, pretty hard. And she just started crying. And she was just crying, and we were yonder over by the benches, kind of quite a distance, but we heard her cry. But we're just minding our own business. We saw it from afar. And then gradually later, Jason and I would walk over to the playground where the slide was, and you would climb up in that area, which was actually nearby the swings. So we went over there to the playground, to the slide, and I was standing there, and this is like maybe 21 years ago, Jason was 2. All of a sudden, after hearing her, the little girl kept crying over and over again, whimpering and crying and sniffling. He left me, and he turned around and slowly started walking to the swings, immediately straight to that little girl that was standing there. And I turned around and I saw him do that. So he walked right over to her. He couldn't speak yet. And he approached her, and what did he do? He wrapped his arms around her. And she was this tall, 7 years old, and he was this short, around 2 years old. So he just came right to her and wrapped his arm around her. and she wrapped her arm around him and it helped her to stop crying. And then I saw him leaning his head on her stomach or her chest, and he was just leaning on her, hugging her, holding her, and then gently patted her back. I was beside myself. I happened to have my handy little camera with me, and I said, this is a Kodak moment. So here he is, just they're holding and embracing each other, and I just took a couple of pictures, and I still have them. I have to look for it. I don't know where it is. But Jason says, oh, I would like to see that picture. That was proof. He couldn't even speak. He couldn't even have the language to talk. But his behavior, his love that was innately within him, the spirit of love, reached out to that girl who he just heard crying, knew that she was in distress, and he just gave her a warm embrace and patted her to comfort her at that time. That was so beautiful, and I'll never forget that. That was vividly in my mind. I mean, I can just visualize that right now to this day. So all of us have innately the spirit of love within each and every one of us. But some of us may have put that spirit of love aside because living in this world, you know, some of us may have been jaded in one way or another, in a bad relationship, or seeing all the toxicity out there and all the ugliness out there and the rudeness. I mean, it can be really ugly. And it says in the scriptures that in this world you will have trials and tribulations, but be of good cheer, for I, Jesus, have overcome the world, and I will give you peace that surpasses all understanding. And I just encourage you to try to just yield to God's Spirit today, and allow God's Spirit to envelop your heart, spirit, and soul with His love, that you may be embraced with His love, that you may be overflowed with God's amazing love, that you may outpour it naturally to others. I'd like to share with you this verse in 1 John chapter 4, verse 8. And it says, he who does not love does not know God, for God is love. And then it says in verse 11 through 13, my beloved, if God so loved us, we ought to love one another. No man has seen God at any time. If we love one another, God abides in us, and His love is perfected in us. Hereby we know that we abide in Him, and He in us, because He has given us His Spirit. So again, as babies, we were born innately in the image of God with His love already in us. But somehow, again, the world may have canceled out the love in us. We may have been hurt or wounded in our lives, that we just choose not to love another or trust others anymore, whatever it may be. But I just pray that God's Spirit may help to jolt you in the direction of His beautiful love, that you may be able to have that smile on your face and spread God's love to others today. I like what it says in this quote by Ernest Holmes. And it says, love is within us. It cannot be destroyed. It cannot be ignored. To the extent that we abandon love, we will feel it has abandoned us. Have you ever felt that you abandoned love? I did at one time when I felt like I couldn't smile anymore. I was at far distance from God and His Spirit. and it was an ugly place to be in. I just couldn't lift up the corners of my mouth. But praise God, when I went to my Michigan trip in my early 20s, God's Spirit, He spoke to me through so many different variety of ways at Michigan, through the nature during the fall time, the beauty of the colorful trees, through singing praise songs, by being in the airplane. God's Spirit spoke to me, and once again, God's love enveloped me, and I was overflowed. And even when I came back on my trip, my husband Andy said, "Wow, you've changed." And I had the joy of God's love and Spirit within me. So I encourage you to just yield to God's Spirit, to pray that He may touch your heart like never before, that you may be able to curve up the corners of your mouth and smile today. And then it continues on in the quote saying, denying love is our only problem, and embracing it is the only answer. Through the power of love, we can let go of past history and begin again. Love heals, love forgives, and makes us whole. Love just energizes us to just do things beyond our wildest dreams. You may feel like you have no energy today. You may feel depressed, lethargic. You may feel like you may have no motivation in life. But once we are enveloped in God's love, He will energize us to once again truly live, to live this abundant life that Jesus came to give us. So let us not forget, it says in John 10:10, that the enemy comes to steal, kill, and to destroy us. But I, Jesus, has come to give you life and to have it abundantly till it overflows. So let us not waste our one and only life that God has gifted us with, but to be enveloped in God's love once again, be energized His love, and to be able to spread it out to others. And I'd like to share with you what it says in Matthew 22:36-29. It says, "Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law?" Jesus said to him, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might, and with all your mind. This is the greatest and first commandment, and the second like it, to love your neighbor as you love yourself." So again, we were born in a spiritual element inside each and every one of us. Just like when Jason was only 2 years old, he heard a lady in distress, and he just approached and walked over to her and gave her that nice, friendly, comforting hug. He was able to give out love, and she in return was able to receive his love and compassion. We all need love and more compassion to be expressed outwardly, so others may receive our love and that we're able to give love. That is where true wealth and that is where true joy will be. And the Spirit, it says in Timothy, in 2 Timothy 1:7, "For God hath not given us a spirit of fear or timidity, but of power and of love and of a sound mind, of self-discipline, self-control." So let us dwell in God's Spirit today, that we may receive His power, His love, and His sound mind. Just continue to think on good thoughts, anything that is good, noble, praiseworthy, excellent, anything that is good, that will help to lift up our spirits, and yield to God, that His love may envelop your heart, that we may be able to naturally, continually shine God's love to others. That will make this world a better place, and let us be encouraged to do our part. God bless you, and I will see you next week. Goodbye.